Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Andrea. I'm the Knitting PT, and this is my channel where I talk about all the things I love about the fiber arts, share my projects, and yeah. So I came back. Not bad. I actually was hoping to film an episode last week before I left for the Unwind Retreat in Kansas City, but my plans got derailed because my daughter took off to school with one of the objects I wanted to show you all. So today is warm enough that she did not bring it with her to school, so I have a chance to show you all. But before we get into that, just a reminder that anything I talk about, any links to designers, shops, yarn dyers, anything like that is all down in the description notes box below kind of thing, as well as links to my website, my Ravelry, Instagram, Ko-Fi, all that good stuff. So any information you're looking for will be down there. I also did want to say that I am an affiliate now for Aimee Sher Makes online shop. So the link there, if you click on it, I will get a small kickback if you choose to shop through my link. So thank you in advance if you do. And I also want to say that today's episode is not sponsored by Aimee really, but I've decided it's going to be called A Love Letter to Aimee Sher Makes. So enjoy. So if you've been watching me on here for the past 2 or 3 years, you already know that I'm a big fan of Aimee Sher. I test for them quite often for pattern testing, and ever since they launched their online shop, I shop there quite often as well. So a lot of things I happen to be talking about today are just related to their shop, their patterns, all that good stuff. So why not just lump it all in there? I promise you it's not because I'm an affiliate. Honestly, being an affiliate is just like a side benefit. If I earn no money through my commission, I don't care. I'm just happy to talk about their things because they're a great human, and they deserve all the success. All right, so first things first is what I'm wearing. So this is not a new finished object, but I finished it during my hiatus from YouTube. So I'm not wearing it on here to show you all yet, and it deserves to be seen. So here it is. So this is the Mariner pullover by Aimee Sher Makes. I test knit this for them and released in, I think it was like mid to late December. I knit mine in Durham Natura Penelope yarn, which is a merino silk blend. I need to look up my notes. Okay, so the Mariner pullover. I knit the size A, which is the smallest size, and that is the size that gives me about 2 to 3 inches of positive ease. Now, the pattern is written to give you about 7 to 10 inches of positive ease. I decided with this one, I would size down a little bit just to get a slightly more fitted look. And it worked out really well. As you can see, I just have probably like 3 to 3 inches of positive ease here. And it is really polished looking. I'm wearing high-waisted linen pants with it. And it's just it goes well with everything. The yarn I used, like I mentioned, the Durham Natura Penelope. And I had like a little ball of it left over. So this is what it looks like. And it is 90% wool and 10% silk. And it is non-superwash. And as you can see, it's a very round kind of yarn. I really liked working with it, and I really like the finished fabric too. So I've had this finished since December. I've worn it several times. I wore it all day when I was at my Unwind Retreat in Kansas City last weekend, and this basically has not stretched or sagged. Sometimes I find with some superwash yarns that the sweater, especially if it's a heavier weight sweater, this is like DK light worsted, it can tend to stretch, especially at the shoulders, but this has held up really well. So the Mariner, as you can see, is striped sleeves and body, and you have the option to do a really cute shoulder button band detail, and I sewed mine down because the buttons always kind of pull, was making it look all wonky, so I sewed it down, but there's actually a contrast button band. I don't know if you can see any of that underneath. That's in my striped color. And these buttons, these very cute bee buttons, are also from Aimee's shop too. And the colors I used were this light green is Sage, I don't know how to say it, and the darker green is Cypress. Yeah, so I really enjoyed working on this. I want another one already. I want one that's in size B, which is my usual size for Aimee's patterns, and so that I can have like a larger sweatshirt kind of feel. And I want one where it's cream and neon pink stripes. Do I have the yarn for it behind me? This is Wandering Flock. This is Dune. And for the stripes, I would use Neon Coral. All right. In terms of finished objects, I've only got, things are falling everywhere. I've got 1.5-ish. One's not really a finished object, but I modified it and I'm pretty happy with how it modified. So let's talk about that one first. So the next one is this campus vest, which I finished sometime in the spring last year. It is another Aimee Sher Makes pattern. So you can see it's a vest and it's super cute. When I knit it, I believe my usual size B. That's in her, let me see. Oh no, I knit size C. So I knit a size larger than I usually knit. And then it turned out to be kind of a mistake because it turned out to be too much ease than I liked. So what I did was, and so when I wore it, I wish I had taken a video of me wearing it before, because then you would see. But before, it used to come out to like right here, okay, on both sides. So what I did, because if I were to bring it in, I'd have to basically reknit the whole thing. Didn't really want to do that. So I did sweater surgery for the first time. And what I did was I basically, from the inside, I just sewed in 2 inches, and then I crocheted, I don't know if you can see, it's all kind of messy. I crocheted along the edge of both sides and then cut the fabric. Okay, and so I did that on both sides, and that brought it in, and this is what it looks like from the outside. It's not the tidiest, but it's not that messy either, so I'm pretty happy with it. And now it is the perfect width for me. Now, I would not probably suggest doing this with a superwash yarn. This was in Harrisville Daylights, which is a non-superwash yarn. It's very sticky too. So the yarn itself is going to stick to each other, which will prevent the unraveling. So it was because of that I decided to try on this one. And it's worked out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. And I think, yeah, I got pretty lucky with that. So that is what I did with that one. That's the first time I've really attempted any kind of surgery on anything, so I'm really happy that it came out well. All right, my next finished object is something I wove. Yes, that's right. The TheKnittingPT can now do all 4 fiber arts. I just messed up that line, whatever. So, are you ready to see it? So this is the first thing I've ever woven. I am very proud of it. Oh, look at that. Didn't clip those. See, my daughter took it the minute it came off the loom, so I haven't even had time to really wash it or to appropriately, like, really make sure the fringe was trimmed correctly. She literally just, like, took it off the loom, put it around her neck, and just ran off with it. And she was wearing it to school every day. I finished this, like, almost a month ago. She's been wearing it to school every day, which is super cute. Yeah, and today was warm, so she did not wear it, so I got to take it to show you all. So how did I end up weaving? Well, we can blame that on Aimee Sher. So she started carrying rigid heddle looms in their shop. They're a Kromsky dealer now for spinning wheels and also looms. And I've been kind of curious about weaving, especially because Aimee Sher weaves. My friend Megan, Kimchi & Co. is weaving a lot these days. And I was talking to Aimee, and they told me that, you know, rigid heddle is a really great place to start to learn. The ones that they carry in their shop are foldable, so you can fold it in half and put it in a bag, and it's portable, but also then that helps to save space. And their 8-year-old was weaving on the rigid heddle loom, so I thought, if an 8-year-old can do it, I certainly can learn how to do it, right? So I got one. Mostly also because I have been starting to get requests from weaving guilds to teach classes for them, and I did want to experience kind of the process of weaving for myself so that I can give the best advice I can give ergonomically. So it turns out weaving is really hard on your body, harder than spinning or crocheting or knitting. It's a lot of upper body and back work, especially when it comes to preparing the weave and threading your loom and working on the warp. So yeah, learned a lot. and excited to keep learning and to keep exploring. And yeah, so let me tell you about the scarf that I wove. So this first project I did, I basically did not really calculate anything. I know that weaving usually has a lot of like math to it, which admittedly not my favorite part of anything. So I just kind of went with it and just kind of like estimated kind of the length I want to do. I did a direct warping on it too to make it easier for myself. So, you can see that this is not really a full-size scarf for an adult, and not even for a kid, but my daughter doesn't mind. She just likes to hang around her neck. So for the warp, which is like the the yarn that like is strung on the loom, I used a skein of J'adore fibers, and this is Gudetama on her DK base. And then for the weft, which is what you actually like weave back and forth, I used a skein of my hand spun that I had spun up from Hello Lavender's fiber. And this is kind of how it looks. And throughout here, hopefully I'm also going to be flashing pictures that I took throughout the time when I was learning how to weave, so you can kind of get an idea of what the whole setup looks like. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how it looks. It's a great way to use up any hand spun yarn you have that you just have single skeins of, which I have a lot of, since that's how I've been learning how to spin and practicing and getting better. Yeah, and I would say this is not bad. Like, you can see the selvage edge is a little bit inconsistent here and there, but it's really not bad, I think, for a first time weave. I'm happy with it. My daughter is very happy with it. So yeah, and it was a lot of fun. Like, I found weaving really fun. Like, yes, the setup is a lot of brain thinking and brain whatever, but once you get it all set up and you're in the process of like just like moving your shuttle back and forth, like, it was very soothing. It was very satisfying. Yeah. And I'm starting to see how people like, really get sucked into doing all kinds of fiber arts, because I think that every single fiber art tickles your brain in a different way, or at least that's what I find for me. And sometimes, sometimes there are times where I'm like, you know what? I just need to spin because I just need something rhythmic and calming and soothing. And the sound of the wheel spinning is kind of meditative for me. And then there are other times when it's like, nope, I just want to knit. I want to work on my hands. I want to see something grow with my hands. And yeah, it's just different. Yeah. So anyway, all I have to say is if you would like to get started learning how to weave, you could do so by looking at Aimee's shop. So first of all, I just want to share a quick update on my Tekla pullover. I shared this last time. I was still working on a sleeve. I've since finished that sleeve, as you can see here. So one thing I will note is that the pattern does kind of tell you to do like a half pattern repeat of the lace in the middle here. You can see I just left it clear because my brain could not deal. And it's on the inside, like it's on the under seam of my arm. So I was like, whatever. So that's just the one note I will note. And then now I am back to working on the body for a little bit before I pick up the second sleeve. This honestly, I think, is going to be more of a slog for me because of the gauge. It is a pretty tight gauge, and it's like DK weight yarn on size 4 needles, and the gauge is like 20-something stitches per 4 inches. It's just a tight gauge, and not really rhythmic or very intuitive for my hands, so it just takes me longer. So I'm just letting that be and telling myself that that is okay. This will get done when it gets done. Next, the next things I have to show you. Oh wait, no, that's a lie. Hold on, hold that thought. So the next one I want to show you is something that I hope will be a finished object the next time I film. It is my rib weight pullover. Ta-da! So I finished one sleeve since, and oh my gosh, look at that sleeve. Okay, let me stick my hand in there. Look at this. It is stunning. It is so pretty. Yeah. And I am now working on my second sleeve. So hopefully I should have this done by the weekend. I am super happy with how it's turning out. Yeah. And this has been a knit where I've just enjoyed working on every single stitch of this. Like, sometimes we have those projects where, we really just want the finished object and we're just powering through. But this is one where, like, I really enjoyed working on it a whole lot. Like, this is one where I really love the process of it. And I don't know if it's just the way the cables, if it's the construction of it, or it's the combination of the yarn. Like, I just I really loved working on this one. I'll be a little sad when it's over, but also like really happy to finally get to wear it too. So hopefully this will be done the next time you see me. All right, so the next three work in progress I'm going to show you are all new cast-ons. I had like a weekend where I just cast on in succession. Like every day I cast on something new. Yeah. You know, when the world's on fire, you just got to do what makes you happy, right? World's on fire is an understatement. Anyway, okay. So the first work in progress I'm going to show you is my Avenue vest by Tori Yu. And this I am doing in my own handspun. And so this is my first like handspun garment. So here it is so far. I don't know if you can see all the different colors there are. Yeah, so this yarn I spun up was from Nor'easter Farms. It's a combination of Finn wool and some recycled sari silk. I am really happy with it. It is really fun to knit up my own handspun. It's interesting because it also gets me thinking a little bit more about my spinning process. Okay, next time I would maybe slow down a little bit on this part, like do these things a little differently to produce a more consistent yarn. But I'm really happy with it so far. And it's been really fun knitting it up and using it. And yeah, I got a good amount of it done. I took this and my rib wave on my trip, and this was like my mindless knitting when we were sitting at dinners, listening to talks, that kind of thing, and I could just go around and round and round. So I got quite a bit done on this while I was there. So yeah, this is the Avenue vest by Tori Yu. I guess I should show you what my handspun looks like too. So here's one of it caked up. Hold on, there we go. Look at the delightfully big squishy ball. Or cake. As you can see, my spinning was not super consistent then, but it's really not bad. I definitely know that I've gotten better since I spun this up during Tour de Fleece in the summer. So that was really encouraging to like knit with it and realize like, oh, you know what? I know I'm definitely spinning better now. Yeah, so that was neat. All right, next work in progress is, wrong bag. The start of my study session sweater by Samantha Guerin. I'm really only just on the back right now, so there's not much to see, but it is so pretty. I love this detail along the shoulder, the back shoulder here. The yarn I'm using for this is from Explorer Knits and Fibers. Here it is in skein. This is Rain Shadow, and this is on Rocky's DK, Superwash Merino. Yeah. And I love that sweater by Samantha Guerin. Watching Tashi's podcast, Starlight and Stitches, where she had cast hers on, and she's, I think at this point, like on the sleeves of hers. I was like, yeah, I need to cast mine on too. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to working on it more, especially once I get my rib wave off my needles. And yeah, it's just really pretty in this blue. I definitely have my color palette. Okay, all right, final work in progress. So I have started to work with unspun yarn. I know I'm very late to the bandwagon, okay? Like I know it's been years since everyone was talking about Nutidin and Manchalopi and all that stuff. I'm finally on the train, sort of. We'll see if I like stay on the train. I'm sure I will. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I cast on the Matthew pullover by Aimee Sher. And this is what I got so far. So it's knit bottom up in unspun yarn. So yeah, this is the bottom. It is a pullover that's got some simple cables at the shoulder and the neck-ish area here too. So unspun yarn. If you do not know what unspun yarn is, it is basically yarn that is not spun. I'll show you what it looks like. They come in plates like this. And what you do is, Manchalopi is plaited with like two strands together. So these two held together is kind of like, it can go anywhere from I think like DK to chunky weight because unspun yarn just is magical like that, I guess. Clearly I know a lot, right? Okay, anyway. So Aimee has a whole video on YouTube where they give tips on how to work with unspun yarn, because unspun yarn can rip quite easily. I'm not going to do this right now because I just don't really want to. Also, I like ripped it a lot when I was casting it on. But you can see here, like, it's very delicate. And if you pull too hard, you can rip it right away. But the nice thing about unspun yarn is that you can just splice it back together. Like, you spit on your hand, which is kind of gross, and you rub it together and it sticks back together. So that's the nice thing. So I'll tell you, I tend to yank on my yarn a good amount. I've gotten better about not doing it as I've become a more experienced knitter and just loosened up a little bit. But I will say that I've discovered since doing this project that I tend to, I think, really pull on my yarn a lot when I'm casting on, because I want to have like an even cast on edge. And I really had to loosen up when I was working on this. I don't know how many times I spliced together the cast on, but I was drinking a beer at the same time, and like I was like, this cast on is like 50% beer at this point. Yeah. But, you know, you can see it holds together. It is super lightweight. That's the benefits of using unspun yarn, is that your garment that comes out, or your finished object, will be super lightweight and airy and super warm too, because all that air pockets is going to trap all the warmth too. Again, I'm not an expert on unspun yarn. If you want to learn more, I would say go look at Aimee Sher's YouTube. Okay, so I will say that also I did receive this yarn as part of my affiliate partnership with them, where they gave me the yarn to do a project. So thank you, Aimee and Symphony, for having me as an affiliate and giving me this chance to try unspun yarn. So I am pretty excited to work on this. The needles I'm using, these are the Addy Square, which are ergonomic ones. I bought these myself from Aimee's shop. She carries the Addy Square sets. And I decided to use these because the gauge on this calls for US 10s, which is 6 millimeters. US 10s usually make my hands hurt. So I am knitting this project on these squares, also as an experiment to see how my hands feel. I have a feeling my hands will feel very different because I'm also trying to tension and hold everything lighter so I don't continually rip my yarn. So that is probably going to benefit as well. Yeah, so that is what I'm working on. Okay, so a few quick notes before I wrap up. So again, the link to Aimee Sher's shop is in my affiliate. The affiliate link is down below. I will say that I really love visiting their website, and I've been on a lot, and sometimes I like to just go on it, because it is just set up so well. Like, you click on any kind of yarn, and the shop itself is set up so it will recommend for you which ones of Aimee's patterns they would recommend using that yarn for, and vice versa. You can click on a pattern and it'll show you recommended yarns, which I find that super helpful in general, right? So as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I just returned from a retreat in Kansas City. It was the Unwind retreat that was put on by the Unwind shop in Lee's Summit, Kansas City. I attended last year and was their speaker, and this year Tammy and her team expanded the whole event, made it so much bigger, invited me back as one of the teachers. I was so excited to be asked back because I really loved my experience there last year. This year was just as great, if not better, because I got to hang out with a lot of people. Aimee Sher and I finally got to meet in person for the first time because we were both teachers, so that was wonderful. Aimee Gilles from La Bien-Aimée was there as well. Tian Connaughton, who is a crochet designer and also an author. She has a cozy murder mystery coming out during this month, which you can pre-order on her website. And if I remember to, I will also drop that down below. Yeah, and I just got to meet so many people like Jill and Ed from North Bay Fiber. I got to meet Gabby from Plies and Hellhounds. I got to meet Lindsay from Larkspur Knits, and it was just a really great community building time. Really draining for an introvert like me, but really fulfilling too. So I just want to say thank you to anyone who might have been there, to Tammy and her staff, to any people who took my classes. Thank you for being there and just engaging with me. I also got some really great ideas and was inspired there for future classes I'm going to develop. So thank you so much for that. And I just want to say, if you've ever been hesitant to attend a retreat, and you don't know anyone, I will say a knitting retreat is probably the best retreat to go to where you don't know anyone, because everyone is usually just so welcoming. Everyone loves to knit or crochet or whatever fiber art, and so people are just happy to just talk to each other. I did not feel like there were like necessarily cliques there. Like, you know, even as a presenter myself, I really didn't know anyone beyond some of the other presenters, and a lot of times we were all teaching at different times. And so for meals, I would just sit down at any table and just be like, hey, can I join you guys? And I met so many people that way. Everyone was super welcoming for anyone to join anyone at any time. Yeah, it was just a really fun time. So if you have the financial means to travel to a retreat, I do recommend traveling to Unwinds, just because they got a great group of people there. Yeah, so that's my spiel about that. Thank you for hanging in there, and thank you for listening. If you listened all the way through to the end, to my love letter to Aimee Sher Makes and her team. And I hope that you are staying safe, staying healthy. I hope that you're keeping yourself mentally well as you can be in these times that we're living through. And I will hopefully see you all again soon. Happy knitting.